let's jump to this next story and talk about things that actually matter. We got this from the BBC. Putin will seek revenge for Ukraine drone attack, warns Trump. Did you guys hear about this one? Over the course of 18 months, Ukraine had been loading drones into trucks that were being dispatched all over Russia. And then all at once, the roofs flipped over, drones launched in the air, and then bombed Russia's nuclear fleet. So they're bomber jets, they're bomber planes or whatever. Jets.
Did we give them the drones?
No, and Ukraine intentionally kept the U.S. in the dark. So while Trump and the United States are trying to negotiate a peace deal, Ukraine launched a drone strike on the Russian nuclear fleet, to which Russia is now vowing revenge. I would argue U.S. should cut off Ukraine 100% after this.
Yeah, I think Zelensky's looking for a ceasefire. He made a video almost immediately.
Yeah, now.
Talking for a ceasefire.
Yeah, here you go. Here's the video.
He looks like a kid with his hand
My
caught in a
proposal
jar
we
of
offer,
cookies.
which I believe our partners can support,
Думаю, що нас партнери можуть підтримати, але ми пропонуємо
is that we propose to the Russians a ceasefire until the leaders meet.
зустрічі лідерів.
This is fake. This guy is evil. Look, I don't like Vladimir Putin. I think Putin is a despotic scumbag. I think he's a bad guy. Okay, fine. Zelensky is also a bad guy. He launched a strike on Russia, planned over a year and a half, did not tell the United States as we were trying to negotiate peace and a ceasefire. After the strike, he then says we should propose a ceasefire. Why? Because it can't happen now. He made sure of it. He destroyed U.S. negotiations. He inflamed the conflict. Russia will now retaliate. And he's going to say, but we were calling for a ceasefire and Russia attacked us. And then go to the Democrats in this country and they're going to be like, we have to give Ukraine more money. I say cut them off 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Do you think the Biden people knew about this?
Yes. Yeah, I think Poso was tweeting about it. Something like former Biden people had met with him, and then like a week later, the strike happened. It's also, guess what? I'm going to put it simple. Keep it simple. Actually, I'm going to pull it up because all the sycophants. So Germany warrant Ukraine Nord Stream. Got to bring it up. People don't believe me. They say Temple was paid by Russia, which is fake news. Germany seeks Ukrainian suspect in Nord Stream pipeline sabotage, reports say. Let me lay it down for you. Germany was buying energy from Russia. Germany is our ally. Ukraine is not. A Ukrainian diving instructor bombed, according to Germany, the Nord Stream pipeline, cutting off their access to natural gas. That is an attack on a NATO ally. If it is true, what Germany is saying, that it was a Ukrainian diving instructor who bombed Nord Stream and then fled to Ukraine, and they're not turning him over, wouldn't that trigger Article 5 and make Ukraine an enemy of this country for which we would be at war with?
Seems simple. Yeah.
Technically, yeah. But I think that the NATO funded the destruction of the pipeline. I don't know.
Germany issued an arrest warrant. Okay? So maybe NATO went behind Germany's back, and then we got a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
But the fact remains right now, on the surface, August 14th, 2024, the reporting is a Ukrainian diving instructor named Volodymyr Z, of all names, bombed the Nord Stream pipeline. A warrant has been issued for his arrest, and he fled to Ukraine, where he's been ever since.
That sounds like a psyop.
The insinuation, the allegation is that this was a Ukrainian-directed attack on the Nord Stream pipeline because Russia was profiting off of the trade deal with Europe and utilizing those resources to wage war on Ukraine. Or at the very least, it was bolstering their economy. Ukraine bombed the Nord Stream pipeline to damage the Russian economy by severing Russia and Europe. The argument is that Europe doesn't want full-scale war with Russia because we get energy from them. Ukraine was invaded and wants the Europe to go nuts on Russia. So blow up the gas pipeline, cut off that trade deal, and sever trade ties, increasing the likelihood of war. If that allegation is correct, I'm just saying if, Ukraine attacked a NATO ally, a NATO supply line, Germany is a NATO ally, and the U.S. should retaliate for that.
Yeah, at the very least, cut them off.
Exactly. We should say, you are cut off. We're not giving you anything anymore. And now you've got the drone strike amid Trump's peace negotiations.
Yeah, it's almost frenetic or like
antagonistic.
The way our two administrations have dealt with this war, this conflict is like almost it's psychotic. It's what's that word? The worst sort of mental derangement you can have, the worst sort of mental illness you can have. It starts with an S. I don't know, but
Being liberal?
Schizophrenia?
yeah, it's like schizophrenic. Our government's military policy,
worst mental illness.
maybe not the worst, but
Sociopathy?
it's stuff like that. It's been behaving psychopathically towards the Ukrainians because at first we're their allies. We probably funded the bombing of the Nord Stream pipeline, made up some fictitious Ukrainian named Vladimir Z to make a freakish point.
Volodymyr.
It's literally Zelensky's
It's Zelensky's name.
That's a Volodya baloney.
That sounds like they made up a fake thing to be like, we got you. Like, ha ha ha. They do that kind of thing in the cult when they're at the top like that. They'll try and they'll use that meme magic. And then the new administration comes into office like, we're done. We don't want this war anymore. So now we're almost like, our enemy is Ukraine because they're the one that broke up the peace deal that was trying to prevent World War III. It's like they want World War III. We have to stop them. That's where we're at right now.
So I don't think that they want World War III. I do think that they want the United States to be more assertive, and I don't think that the United States has the interest to do that. Like I think your average person is incredibly over this. They don't want anything to do with the war in Ukraine. It's not our war. We don't have treaties with either of these people. It's not our business. And I think that that's the opinion of most Americans.
He's short. He's not cute. He didn't dress up for the White House. I'm over it.
Yeah, too much coke. Think he does a lot of coke? I think he does a lot of coke. Wait,
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to have those.
Ian would know.
Yeah, no point in judging. Coke's nasty. Don't do coke.
I actually don't know.
God, it's awful.
I think that the American people are sick and tired of it with all of the stuff that went on with the Biden administration, all the talk of corruption and stuff like that. The American people know that it's not. It's not a winning bet for us to continue to support this. The rest of Europe can, and they might have to, or they might want to, because that Russia directly affects them. But the Atlantic Ocean says we don't have to care.
This is like, 2 weeks ago they tried to assassinate Putin, the Ukrainians?
Yep, drone strikes.
And then 2 weeks later they blow up their fleet? How many ships got blown up? I don't have any of the numbers on
I have no idea.
Yeah,
You talking about in the drone attack here?
Yeah.
I heard it was something like 40.
40 ships got blown up.
30 or 40. You're talking about,
Did they sink their battleship?
No, I don't know. I don't even know if they have battleships. But I'm talking about the airplanes, not the actual ships. I'm talking about naval ships.
There were like 24 videos. They said they have more of them, but everyone's saying like Russia said like 7. They showed videos with proof of 24 being damaged, but they said they have more, so it could be. They claimed 40. So
the Russians claimed that 40 of their boats were destroyed or damaged.
Ukraine claimed it.
I think the attack, the drone strikes, show that Ukraine has lost the war. This is insurgency. When an occupying force takes over a country, what do you end up seeing? Sabotage. So it's like, how does, in a ground war that is not utilizing Russia's nuclear fleet, how does bombing them help Ukraine? They're trying to, the idea is to create damage, hurt public support by attacking them inside their country and making people upset about it. It's just going to be used by Russia as more cause for war. So it didn't really serve any active purpose. I suppose taking out their nuclear fleet, if there is a fear of an expanded war, makes sense. But that's indicative of the Ukrainians acknowledging they've lost the territory that Russia has invaded. Otherwise, they'd be launching these strikes in that territory and reclaiming it. Not, let's be honest. But striking inside of Russia does not help them reclaim their territory in any way. It's political. It can have political ramifications, but it's not going to aid them on the front lines.
Yeah, people it's a feel-good thing. Most of the people that are happy about it, they're like, yeah, get the socket to Russia and blah, blah, blah. But like Tim says, it didn't change anything material on the ground.
I feel like you got to end this limited war. You got to end
Trump is trying to, and Ukraine's undermining him.
It seemed like Putin was interested in ending it.
Putin's not interested in going to
Is
the...
Putin mad at us?
Yeah, of course.
He had a call with Trump. They did a call today, I think, or yesterday.
Yeah. And Putin was like, nope, I'm retaliating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump must be pissed.
Oh, I would be so mad.
He's been trying to negotiate peace. He wanted the war to end. He's broken this promise. He said the war would be over the moment he got elected, and he didn't do it. And Zelensky's going behind his back to inflame tensions while he's trying to negotiate peace. That's evil, man.
I know.
I don't think that Putin has much incentive to negotiate peace. He's in a position where, like, everything for him is all like upside now. The United States doesn't want to give any, the American people don't want to continue to fund Ukraine. Ukraine's not gaining any ground. They managed to, bloody his nose, but that's all it was. They didn't change anything. And I don't see a future where, Crimea gets back to Ukraine control. Like, that's not happening. I don't think that the Russians are giving up any of the territory they have now.
Especially after they bombed the Kerch Bridge. Russia's going to go to the negotiating table with Trump, and they're going to say, no, we're not giving up any of the land bridge we've built through these oblasts because they're already bombing Kerch Bridge. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Trump's going to be like, well, you have to. And they're like, nope, then war. Off the table.
They're not going to, it's not happening.
I think Ukraine's trying to escalate the war. Trump is negotiating peace. What do? Go behind Trump's back and bomb nuclear fleet inside of Russia. No peace deal. Then, a few days later, they bomb the Kerch Bridge, which connects the Russian mainland to Crimea. So they're basically saying to Russia, if you give up any territory, you will have no access to Crimea. We'll take it all back from you. So Russia has no choice but to say no peace. Ukraine wants this. Mm-hmm. And I think Zelensky's probably getting advised by other individuals because we know about the interests of these elites, say Boris Johnson or whatever, who went to them and said, don't negotiate peace. Trump is trying to get it. I think Zelensky's taking orders from somebody else.
Well, Clint Russell thinks it's the British. He thinks
Probably.
They've been colluding with the British behind the Americans' back.
Yep.
Which indicates that they're an enemy to me. If we're their ally in a war and then we try to end that war and they go rogue and inflame the war, they're stepping over into enemy territory. You don't have to have two sides in a war. You could have more than two sides in a war.
Let's just cut them off. The U.S.
That would be step one, yes.
Stop supplying any money or resources to Ukraine as of now.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll get peace real quick.
I think that's probably something that most Americans would probably get behind.
Everyone's over it.
There are some Americans that like Ukraine purely because they feel like that is opposing Donald Trump because it's opposing Putin. So they've got this connection in their head where if I stand up and I put a Ukraine flag in my yard, that's the new resist because Donald Trump loves Putin and Putin's fighting Ukraine. So it's me standing up and being a good Democrat. But those people are,
retarded.
Well, yes, they are retarded, but they're also exceedingly rare nowadays. They're not actually, they might be loud on X or whatever, but there's not a lot of them in the real world anymore.
True.
So I think that it's the best play for Trump to just be like, look, the United States doesn't have anything to do with this, and if Europe wants to continue funding Ukraine's war, let them.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.